Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. This is Around the Blockchain. I'm your host, DZ. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Frank, we've been on point lately. I just want to say that. And let's just go straight to the chat right here. Like Nicole Coleman says, let's get it. It's going to be a great episode. We got some great topics. Bitcoin, the background is green, and you know what that means. It means Bitcoin's acting clean. Sol, poised for a rally. Bitcoin ETF. Is that why everything's green here? And is 60, you know what? It's already been invalidated. Is 60-ish. We'll just say is 60-ish the top. But we got a great episode today. We have Austin. He says he yawns at 60,000. Wake him up when it hits 100K. We also have Mitch Sanders. I think he says it's Saunders. Do you say Saunders or Sanders? Sanders. He is giving away $100,000 on his YouTube. So make sure you check that out. All the links are going to be in the description. And we also have the world's #1 NFT gaming channel. And if you like gaming, you like to make money while you're gaming, go check out CryptoStache. And Naomi, her last YouTube video, it will actually freak you out. It will freak you out. You'll start panicking. You might be getting spied on and you don't even know it. But what am I talking about? You have to go to YouTube and find this out. So some great things there. I definitely recommend checking all these channels here. But before we get into our topics, you know what time it is. It's time for that black and white little rotating plane. God, they're flying way above the stratosphere there. That is probably dangerous for the passengers. We're going to check out market cap here, coin market cap. All right, what is the market cap at this point? Almost 2.5 trillion for the entire crypto sector. Bitcoin up. I mean, things are looking good. Things are looking good, people. We have Bitcoin up at almost 1.2 trillion here. So I'm feeling mad trill, and I ain't talking about ATL rappers here. Although, what was that Little John song? That was a good song. Anyways, Bitcoin up. Look at that, 62,000. Are y'all feeling bullish? Are y'all feeling good? I'm feeling good. We also have Ethereum. I think it was touching 3,900. Right now, it's a little bit below, but we're feeling good about all this. I actually, I had sold some Binance, and I jumped back in for an additional 0.07. So, hey, I made 7% of a Binance. So, jump back in. We have Solana up 8%. I actually told everyone in the office this morning, I think Solana's going to pump today, and it looks like I was vindicated. Polkadot up. Hey, we talked about them on ATB yesterday. Was it us? Who knows? We won't know. Even Doge is up, still below a quarter. Uniswap, a little bit lower, lagging behind. Come on, Uniswap. I got a bunch of you. We go to the top gainers here. Polygon, way up. Polkadot, we already mentioned that. Whew, man. Bitcoin. We're in the 60,000 range, and we're up 8%. I mean, that is insane. That is just awesome right there. Axie Infinity, maybe if you want to get some profits, maybe, get a little exposure to that game if you want to play, it might be the time. Waves, we were looking at them earlier. Stacks had just an incredible run up this week, up over 40%. So a little bit of retracement. Filecoin. Oh, I'm sorry, my dog lovers. I'm sorry. But Shiba, I mean, looking a little sideways there. Now, Austin, I'm going to bring it to you. How are you feeling like with the general market here leading into the weekend? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling like maybe it's time to maybe pull a little bit of profit?
We're feeling bullish. We're feeling bullish on this show. I think the last 2 times I was on here, we were talking about Uptober, Pumptober. I know Ben likes Pumptober. I'm a fan of Uptober.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this is just, if you look at the crypto cycles this is the second leg of the crypto cycles. And we've seen it historically. Things like this have happened. You see the pullback. And now, historically, October, November, December have been bullish for crypto as a whole. We're going into this bull market, or this bull leg in the actual market. I think taking money off the table right now, not financial advice, I think it would be a little bit early. Crypto, and Bitcoin specifically, doesn't consolidate and then come up to its all-time high just to pull back down to where it was previously. I'm feeling bullish. I think it's Pumptober, Uptober. I'm excited for where this goes. Wait, as you mentioned, wake me up when we get to 100K.
All right, well, let's stay on this for a quick second. It's interesting. We seem to be following the 2013, 2017, and some say even like 11, but the price was so low there. I try not to count that one. But we seem to be, possibly going for that runoff in December, which is interesting because the halving cycle is closer to 3 years and 10 months. So theoretically, it should have gone from December into then 4 years later instead of December, maybe closer to October. But we seem to be matching this previous 2013, 2017 playbook. Stash, you've been in Bitcoin for a while. Is this just the new norm? It doesn't really matter like what the math says about the halving cycle. Is it just psychologically ingrained in us that around December is the top now?
I mean, I think that there's definitely a psychological component to Bitcoin and trading in general. That's something we can't deny. And then, then there's the other side of things. Well, then you're talking about this emotional side, right? Which is very important. People say, well, take emotions out of it, just play the charts, which I think is funny because, most people can't do that. And so if that's the only thing you're doing when you're trading Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency for that matter, I think you're definitely missing a big part of the picture because emotional and psychological is the other 50%. We can only go off technical analysis so much. And I would say that, psychologically, I think we pump it up. Where everyone's talking about it, saying, "Oh, here's the numbers and here's how it is." But what? I will say that Bitcoin likes to slap us in the face like a biatch, like we're like we didn't get enough tricks for them today because every time something like this happens, it likes to go a little sideways or crazy on us, and so that's something we always have to take in consideration. I still am of a firm mind that this is going to be the longest bull run cycle when we look back at it, and I think it's actually going to go until March. That's okay. What I've been calling. I think that we're going to see the run up here, but I don't think it's going to be the exact same like we've seen in previous cycles here, where it hits pretty much all-time highs around into December, beginning of January. I think we're going to see it kind of do some big numbers during those months. But I think we're going to see it run even longer going into as far as March, I think.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of smart people. A lot of OGs are saying, we are going to have an extended cycle. We are going to maybe go into March. So personally, I think we should all be, a fan of that happening. I know I had said the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I had moved it in recent weeks to Christmas Eve. And I don't know. Like, maybe a month from now, I'll say, you know what? It's St. Patty's Day. I don't know.
Why are you picking holidays? Why are you just like, I'm just going to go with the holiday? Everyone.
It's a narrative from 2017. I saw it when they were saying, oh, Thanksgiving's going to happen. And, the eccentric cousin is going to tell the uncle or tell the aunt or the brother is going to tell the mom. And at Thanksgiving dinner, he's going to go and show them how to download Coinbase and say, this is how you buy a Shiba, Mom. And I don't know, that's kind of the narrative. And so that gets everyone excited. And then, of course, on Thanksgiving, it'll dump. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from. And then Christmas Eve kind of on the same. I don't know. We'll see. My name's not Chainlink. I don't know. We'll find out. But let's go to our first topic here. Solana. Is it time to call Saul? Saul, poised for a rally here. I was looking at some of this. It was absolutely insane what Solana has done over the last year. I had Frank, one of our better TA guys in the office, if I may say so. It looks like it's painting a classic bull flag pennant here. This is the daily chart right here. If theoretically, the way a bull flag would work is this flagpole would quote unquote then go from there. That would tell us, our next all-time high, which is looking at like it's above 300. That is, what you would call, quote unquote, a classic bull flag pennant here. But it's had quite a run up. It's been up 14,000% year to date. That's a 14,000% price rally for Solana. And now, it's given this bullish, pattern that, hey, we still have room to the upside here. Now, I'm still on the fence here. I'm still on the fence. Mitch, do you think that Solana has maybe had a little bit of too much of a run up? Because, it was hanging out in the 40s. And then all of a sudden, boom, it shot up to 200. It dropped back down to about 150. Do you think that we've seen already too much price action for that bull flag to play out?
No, I think it's still got plenty in it. And the reason being is, it's competing against Ethereum. It's competing against Binance Coin, which are the two most active chains outside of it. So Ethereum, as we know, very decentralized, very slow, very expensive. Binance chain, very cheap, very fast, very centralized. Solana is fundamentally the best of both together. So it's very cheap, it's very fast, and it's decentralized. So I think that's why it's getting so much traction. Price action wise, I still think it has plenty to move. I literally bought some maybe 3 or 4 days ago, purely because I'm jumping into NFTs on there, because I can mint instantly and it costs next to nothing, and some of them are having quite the run on Solana. So yeah, I think it's poised for some great growth moving forward.
Full disclosure, I bought a little Solana this morning. I didn't do this topic to pump my bag, everybody. I'm actually with you, Mitch. I want to get more Solana NFTs, and I don't want to sell my Solana NFTs, even though like some are in profit. I just want more. I want more. So I know Coinbase is going to try to, maybe add those. But Mitch, you brought up decentralization. And Naomi, I want to bring this to you. Oftentimes Solana gets a little bit of a flack because it is quote unquote centralized for a decentralized entity. FTX has a lot, a lot of the Coinbase people, a lot of the Silicon Valley venture capitalists, they were in Solana early. They got in, underneath $1. A large portion of the supply is tied up. Is it still possible to have a good blockchain if there is a high percentage of centralization with the holders?
I think absolutely. I mean, the fact that you have money being poured into this from investors is not a slight against a chain. It means you're probably going to get a lot of things and interesting products built on top of that. I mean, one of them that draws my attention on Solana is Chingari. So we know in India, TikTok's been banned, one of the most popular apps in the world. And so they created a TikTok competitor, Chingari, and it has like 30 million active users. And they're building a native token on Solana. They're basically enabling people on the platform, creators, to build their own e-commerce spaces, include physical merchandise and create NFTs, all kinds of things, like give tips to their favorite artists. That sort of stuff is really exciting. And if we're looking at the next market to get involved in cryptocurrency, I think it's going to be content creators, more and more creators getting into the space, YouTube stars, for example, TikTok stars. I think all of them are going to start exploring this space. But the problem is that crypto is not an easy place for a lot of these people to get into. It's just not intuitive to a lot of people to just sign up for an exchange and get trading. And it's not interesting to a lot of people to trade. We're a different beast on this show, but a lot of people, they want to make their TikTok videos and that's it. So the fact that you have things like Solana being baked into a TikTok-like product, a real competitor for TikTok that's been built out in India, is really exciting, because I think you're going to get a ton of people jumping onto Solana, jumping into NFTs, funding their favorite creators. I think that it's looking pretty bullish for Solana if you look at those types of apps being built on top of it.
All right. Well, if there ever was a creator coin, the Naomi coin, I'd take part in that. Brock chain. Okay, I'm sorry, that was bad. That was terrible.
I see what you did there.
Second it left my mouth, I was like, wow, that was bad. All right, now Stache. I know we've joked about your love/disdain for ETH. You love Ethereum, but you're not a fan of the gas fees. I'm not gonna go up here and say you hate Ethereum again. You put me in my place. But now Solana does have low gas fees. What are your thoughts on the Solana NFT space? I know you like Wax. I know you like some. Do you have any thoughts on Solana NFTs?
I think that NFTs on Solana are really starting to take off. There's some interesting products on there, some interesting projects that I've already jumped into. I minted some Soul Chicks earlier today, actually, and looking at some other ones I did a video on, including like Meerkat Millionaires Country Club, and maybe it's like some Soul Yetis I may be jumping into. But as much as I love what they're doing, I think that when it comes to the NFT scene, it's very much feeling like a bit of a copy of what's going on Ethereum. I'd like to see more actual innovation going on there. With these advanced functions that Sol has with low transactions, you can do so much more. And see, that's one of the things I've actually loved about Wax, is that because the transactions are zero. There's no transaction fees. It makes it easy to create really diverse and high functional and cool like technical little things about your NFT collection or project in general, even if it doesn't have anything to do with NFTs. But like being able to mix things together, blend NFTs to create another NFT, burn mechanics, right? A lot of those things are costing hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Ethereum, but on Solana, they're near it's nothing. It's next to nothing to be able to pay for these types of transactions. So I like to see a little bit more innovation coming, but I do think that Solana's NFT ecosystem is quite it's still small. It's growing. It's a fledgling ecosystem, and they haven't had a ton of time to really get there. So I think they will get there. I think a lot of that is also driven by marketplaces too. So we you know, when we saw Wax really take off as an NFT chain is when the Atomic Hub marketplace came online with the Atomic Standard, and we're just barely starting to see that with Sol and like marketplaces like SolSea, where they have this this really good standard now that people can follow that gives some of the room for more of these advanced functions. And I think that that's really going to drive Solana forward. We've seen that already. When it comes to what's being built on Solana, NFTs can be built and generated so much quicker than large-scale projects. One of my favorites obviously being Star Atlas, but that's a game that is years away. NFT projects are definitely helping to propel all these chains. It's what's propelled Ethereum here over the last 6 to 8 months, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that we're starting to see the same thing from Solana. I would love to see a little more innovation and deviating from what we've seen on Ethereum so far instead of just being kind of a straight copy.
Yeah, a few things there. I'm personally rooting for SolSea as well, Solana Art, and Magic Eden. There's a lot to be desired with some of these. I will say, I know SolPunks has something you're touching on. Like, they could do all these things. They send you Solana, and it's like less than $1 a day you get just for holding. But the fact that they can afford to send 43 cents without costing $27, where now I owe you money, like, because you try to give me
right, exactly. Like, you want your payment, pay me for the transaction.
Pay me, and then here's an IOU with your 38 cents. Now, just last question on this, Austin, me and you, we're probably both numb to gas fees when it comes to minting an NFT. We've become inured to, we just like, we're kind of used to it, like, well, maybe I'm gonna sell this for $10,000. I don't mind the risk of, spending 120 on a gas fee. But Coinbase users, your average retail user, they might not be so inclined to just say $100 fee. Like, they're going to see fee and they're just going to like almost feel like it's a penalty. Do you think that there's a chance for Solana NFTs on Coinbase to actually be more popular on the app than Ethereum NFTs? Or is just Ethereum just so far ahead?
Well, I think there's a couple of things to unpack there. Stash, you had said it, Naomi, you had mentioned it, but the market fluidity of Solana allows for it to do a lot of things that Ethereum, the base layer, doesn't necessarily have the ability to do it. So as you touched on it, if you want to buy a Solana NFT, you can buy one and mint one as low as 0.1 Solana, and there's no transaction fees. We talk about it all the time on the Incubator, my YouTube channel. I mentioned it last time we were on Around the Blockchain, but this market fluidity allows you to do things and flip things for dollars, $10, $20 that you'll never be able to actually do on the Ethereum base layer, at least how it's currently constructed. But the interesting thing that's going on in Ethereum right now, specifically in that NFT space, is the advent of NFTs on Immutable X, which is basically a second layer above Ethereum. So right now you can get exposure to Ethereum NFTs with basically no gas fees on Immutable. So that's an interesting space that's being developed. But for Solana specifically versus Ethereum, I think your retail investor, they don't want to put $500 into a NFT to then also have to pay $100 on gas fee, to then also have to pay $100 to then sell it. So they're just the friction to get into the market for Solana NFTs will be so much easier. And a lot of Coinbase users don't have thousands and thousands of dollars in Coinbase. They have 500, 600, they have a lower amount of money. So their working capital and their bankroll is significantly lower than a traditional crypto native individual. So they're going to be looking for solutions where they don't necessarily have this high fees, and that's going to be Solana. And Solana has been interesting, and Naomi touched on it for these applications and these use cases. The high transactions per second opens up the door for things like, I wrote the name down, what was it? Chingari. This is what Solana provides for this, because it has this 50,000 transactions per second.
Yeah, that name kind of rolls off the tongue there. A couple things in chat. Crypto Jeb is in chat. What up, Crypto Jeb? And he said he was saying the Jebi Knights. Is it Jebi Knights or is it like Jebi Knights, like Jedi? Also, Bailey
Jedi,
loves
obviously.
Bailey loves Star Atlas. Won a lot of points for Stash there, and they're liking Naomi's hair. Now, I did want to say Mitch was saying not Mitch Sanders, Mitch Area. How is Sol decentralized? They shut the system down. All the node operators basically unanimously agreed. They were getting multiple forks within like fractions of a second, so they shut it down. And Maybe you could say like, well, why were they so unanimous? Why did they all agree so quickly? That smells fishy. I would agree, but that's another topic. But we're going to go to the second topic here. Speaking of topics, Bitcoin ETF, exchange traded fund. We're seeing huge run-ups. So, I mean, is this due to the news? A lot of people are saying on Twitter, like, Bitcoin ETF is approved. It's approved. I'm seeing it, big influencers. I'm saying some of these people, like hundreds of thousands of followers. Technically, it was approved by NASDAQ, not the SEC yet. But there's a lot of smart people saying all these steps have been, in place. Typically, like, that just means the SEC is going to be approving it. But, I do just want to say, maybe just pump the brakes just a tad. But the pump today, Mitch, was it from this ETF being approved? And if not, where did it come from?
Great question. So we've been consolidating for quite some months now, and I've said it before on the show. I've said it to my customers that consolidation and capitulation is what we need in order to move that next leg up. Now, there's hundreds or thousands of different elements that cause price action. The ETF is very much buy the rumor, sell the news, and there's been a lot of boxes ticked up until this point. Like, we saw an ETF that's putting together all publicly traded companies that hold Bitcoin. That got approved like a week or two ago. That was a really good first step. And then we saw a lot of dates, like the 18th of October, which is a couple of days away, is one of the big dates where a lot of ETFs get officially approved or denied. So leading up to this point, there's been very much a date crunch that has probably caused a lot of positive pressure on the market. But we're also, if we look, zoom out, look at different indicators. You look at Plan B, who's been, forecasting the stock to flow model for years now, and he predicted, last month that we'd see an average of 43K. We closed at like 43,600. This month it's 63K. Next month it's 100K. So in order for us to close out at 63K, we need to be above 63,000 for a significant amount of the month. And I think, just looking down, we're about $500 away from that 63K now. So there's a lot of things at play. Like, we've also seen, again, zooming out, looking at the macro side of things, we've seen a lot of the alts start to pump because, the crypto money flow, it starts with the big caps, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum. It flows into everything below that. And we start to see the alts getting love, which we've seen, Proton XPR has got a huge amount of love this last week and a half. It's gone up, I think, 3 or 4x. A lot of other coins have gone and done really, really well in the same time frame. So, is this because of the ETF approval or potential ETF approval? I think that's a factor, but, there's a lot going on outside of that as well. And if we look, again, further back on the macro scale, we look at what's going on around the world. Like, I'm in Australia. I've literally got out of lockdown 3 days ago. This is my first haircut in 3 months. I had a beard down to here.
Oh my God.
And there's just crazy things that's been happening here. There's crazy things that's happening in Lebanon. Like, the Lebanese banks have literally bought windows and said no one gets their savings. And the country is in turmoil. My heart and feelings go out to those in Lebanon. And there's just a lot of distrust of government, distrust of banks, and a lot of this worldwide to the establishment. So I think it's really, really healthy. I think it's really, really positive. And I'm looking forward to 100K potentially next month or in December. And I'm with STACHE as well. I think we're going to see an extended cycle. We're already, very close to outpacing the last cycle. So I think, we'll see a high in January, February for Bitcoin. And then, if the trends do follow, Ethereum and alts will take a 2 week to 4 week delay of that. And we'll see a high 2 to 4 weeks later.
Yeah, I agree. And they didn't even want him to get his haircut. They were beating him with batons and stuff. It was like, they're spraying him down. The whole thing was nuts. Naomi, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, breaking news. Actually, SEC has just officially approved ETF. Happened just before the show started. So the details on that, it is a company called ProShares. They have just issued It's called a post-effective amended prospectus, and it stated that its filing is expected to launch on Monday, October the 18th, which is pretty soon. So some huge news there. It's interesting because generally the SEC doesn't actually need to officially approve an ETF, which is why a lot of people were kind of confused about the news earlier, because generally they just have to not reject it by the time the mandated deadline comes along. They can say to one of these ETF filings, they could say, well, we need you to make these changes, or we need you to pull the filing. But generally, there's not like an official approval. But here they have actually met. You had SEC people meet, and they've approved ProShares. So there you go, guys. You've heard it here first on Around the Blockchain.
All right, that is huge.
Like button.
All right, let's cut to the price real quick on my screen here. We're 61,700. We're holding above. If we look at, I'm going to call you out, Frank. Frank's favorite chart here, it is the Bitcoin 1 minute. And, I mean, yeah, we're roughly looking at the same here. I mean, it's a little bit lower. These are perpetual future contracts on Binance. So, I mean, we're holding above 61. If you would have said that, a week ago, we would look at, this level of support just keeps rising and rising and rising. I mean, we would all be feeling pretty good about this. Now, Stash, if one ETF, and again, we're not 1,000% sure that, this is, we're not saying it's the entire reason for the pump. It's a reason for the pump. If one ETF, like one bit of news,